What is happening, people? How you doing? Welcome into today's live stream. I'm gonna be doing my absolute best to help set your ideal lineup here in week 11. I'll answer your questions. If you've got a question about a trade or whatever, I can help with that. So here to help you guys as we are getting closer and closer to the fantasy football season. I can't believe it's already week 11. It feels like it just went by so quickly, but that is every year, I guess, if you really think about it. But do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button for us. Very simple way for you to help support the channel. I will be answering questions from top to bottom. The only way that we go out of order is if there's a super chat. Of course, there's no obligation for you to drop a super chat. Shout out to everybody over on our Dynasty channel. We will be recording a Dynasty rookie running back ranking video tomorrow for the 2024 class. Excited about that. You can check out that channel in the description if you like. But very, very excited to get to talking about the 24 class. It's going to be a good offseason. But let's talk about fantasy football week 11. Go ahead and drop a question in the chat. I'm going top to bottom. Super chats will get priority. But the first question today is from Mr. Green. And all I see is full PPR. I don't see the rest of the question. Might be cut off there, Mr. Green. But Patrick Mahomes is the next one. Gentlemen, should I trade Purdy and Laporta for Lamar? Purdy and Laporta for Lamar. I have Kelsey, so I don't need Laporta anymore. The person I'll trade really needs a tight end. I mean, just my personal opinion, I feel like you're overpaying. And you also, guys, we also have to think about when you're making a trade, who are you making that trade with? This goes under discussed a lot. Are you sending Laporta to your biggest competitor? Because Laporta has a very good rest of season schedule. Are you sending Laporta to the guy that's currently in the playoffs or has a good shot at making the playoffs if he gets Laporta? Because you could find yourself in a scenario where you're in the playoffs. Oh my God, I just lost because Sam Laporta put up a 30-point game against me in the playoffs. So something to think about. But I would say if we redid a draft today in a one-quarterback league, I think Sam Laporta goes off the board before Lamar Jackson. People are trying to find those elite tight ends, and Sam Laporta has given you that this year. Darren, what's up, my man? Start Charbonnet, Dowdle, or Chandler this week. Yeah, tough spot for you to be in. This would be Chandler for me, assuming that Alexander Mattison does miss time. What's up, Chris? Do I start Gus Edwards or Keaton Mitchell? Yeah, very good question, man, because we did hear Harbaugh come out and said we want Keaton Mitchell to get more involved. But yeah, I mean, you would want him more involved. What did he get? 3 carries last week? Let me double check that. It's a very difficult situation to navigate, and I'm honestly... Yeah, he had 3 carries this last week. So he says we want to get him more involved. Does that mean 6 carries? Because unless you're getting a touchdown or a big play, that's hard to rely on. I'm in a situation in my home league, and I'd be happy to actually show you this, Chris. Let me try and show you my screen. I'm not sure if this is going to work or not, but let's give it a go. Okay, I thought it might show you guys the wrong screen. Let's see. Here we go. This is my home league, my one quarterback home league. And I've got Keaton Mitchell right now. I kind of have to start him. I guess I could start Kareem Hunt as well. It is a better matchup with Kareem Hunt, but it just doesn't feel as good, does it? But I've also got Bijan on bye. I've got Kyron on IR. So I definitely hear you, man. Look, I would say Keaton Mitchell has a ton of upside. He definitely does. It's a difficult matchup, though, versus Cincinnati Bengals. That's not a very good defense for your running back to face. They're kind of middle of the pack there. So that is a difficult question. I would probably lean Gus Edwards still, though, because in my personal opinion, if they're on the goal line, I think Gus Edwards is still the one who has the best chance to get a touchdown. Whereas with Keaton, I think you're relying on those big breakout plays, if that makes sense. All right, the next question is from Just Flow. My lineup is Hurts, Monty, Mostert, Amon-Ra, Kirk. Would you make any changes? Let's see. On your bench, you've got Aaron Jones. Yeah, that's that's the interesting one for me is Raheem and Aaron Jones, because I do think Raheem is not going to be a bad play, but we know that Devon Achane is going to be back. I would probably play Aaron Jones over Raheem Mostert personally. Let me double check that in my rankings. Yeah, I would. I would play Aaron Jones over Raheem Mostert. I just feel better about his outlook this week with Devon Achane coming back. I think, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but what's been missing from this Miami team in the last couple weeks? To me, it feels like Devon Achane has been what's missing for them. Clearly, Jeff Wilson's not that guy. I think Achane is what they're really missing. But that's the only change I would really consider making there myself. Best of luck. Definitely best of luck there. We did just get a super chat from Easy Vanya. Thank you for the donation. You are skipping the line with this super chat. Appreciate you, man. So let's get to that straight away. Need 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a flex, and a tight end. All right, so let's get this sorted out for you then, because there is a lot here. Aaron Jones, James Conner. I don't see another running back on the list here, so those are going to be your starting running backs. Oh, you've got Aaron Jones, James Cook, and James Conner. That's my bad. Let's quickly have a look at that. James Conner goes up against Houston. I really, really love that matchup. I would play James Conner over James Cook. So James Cook would be... so we're going to go James Conner, Aaron Jones. At wide receiver, you definitely start Diggs. I know it's a bad matchup, but you start Diggs. At wide receiver, this would be Diggs for me. At flex, this would be Deontay Johnson. And at tight end, this would be Dalton Kincaid. I think we got to ride. I know both these guys have been hot, but this is a Dalton Kincaid. We're going to ride him until it doesn't work for me. But thank you for your donation, man. Really appreciate you. Very, very kind. The next question in order is from Patrick Mahomey. He says, keep 2 wide receivers, Pop Douglas, Jason, Romeo Dobbs, and Brandon Cooks. So I can only keep 2 here. That would probably be Jackson Smith and Jigba. Man, all the rest of them, I don't see a clear keep. I do love Pop, but Romeo has that touchdown upside. We'll go Pop and Romeo. Brandon Cooks is, in my opinion, not someone that you can rely on yet. I know he's coming off a 30-point game in PPR. However, in the 5 games previous to that, he's averaging under 4 targets per game. So keep that in mind. All right, Jake, you did just donate, so let's get to that straight away. Thank you for your donation, man. He says, half PPR, I need 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. Do I play Rashee Rice and Thielen, or do I spend number 1 waiver wire priority on Singleton or Keaton? Okay, so let's start here. Need 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. Rashee Rice and Adam Thielen. Yeah, you know what's funny about that is you kind of have 2 polar opposite players here. Rashee Rice has an incredible matchup. I am extremely excited about playing Rashee Rice this week. He plays the Philadelphia Eagles. He's my wide receiver 28. As far as Adam Thielen goes, you know, a terrible matchup versus the Dallas Cowboys. One of the worst matchups you could actually ask for. But the difference between these 2 guys is Adam Thielen is getting fed volume. He is the offense if there is an offense for the Panthers. On the opposite side, with Rashee Rice, you're kind of relying on consistency at this very moment. We haven't seen enough to tell us that, and maybe this is the game where it happens, that he's going to get 6, 7, 8, 9 targets a game. And a lot of that has to do with the way that the Chiefs kind of scheme up their offense. So if I had to choose one of those 2 names, it would be Adam Thielen. But you're telling me that you can flex Rashee Rice, so that is perfect. Let's go ahead and go Adam Thielen, Rashee Rice. I would play both of those names over a Singletary, over a Keaton Mitchell. And, you know, Singletary does have a pretty good matchup, but you also run the risk that, you know, Dameon Pierce is back and he takes a little bit of opportunity. So if you're asking me just this week, a starter between those 2 names, Singletary, assuming Dameon Pierce doesn't play. But if you're asking me a stash, I'd still rather stash Keaton long term. But thank you for your donation, man. Very, very kind. We do have a couple other donations here. First one from Irvin. Irvin, thank you for your donation. Says McLaren, I'm saying McLaren like the F1 team, or McBride. I have Laporta. Yeah, very good question. Terry is getting consistent volume, consistent opportunities. What concerns me about this game is I don't know how necessary he will be. You know, last week we just saw the Dallas Cowboys absolutely dominate the Giants through the air, but we've also seen a lot of other teams dominate them on the ground. So it's really tough to know how important Terry will be to the game plan, considering it's unlikely that Tommy DeVito is going to lead to a lot of points on the opposite side. So that is a very difficult question. I think I'm going to lean Trey McBride there. I think I'm going to lean Trey McBride in a PPR format. Thank you for your donation, though. Very kind. MP Triple OG Home League. What's up, man? Thanks for the donation. Rest of season, who do you like more? Would be my last flex full PPR, Olave or Javonte Williams. I think, honestly, MP, you're going to have to play that based off of the matchup each week for those guys. If you're asking me overall, I probably prefer Chris Olave just because in a PPR format, it is full PPR. You know, you're going to get more consistent reception opportunities. But yeah, it's going to be a week-by-week basis, honestly. In Week 15, the first week of the playoffs, Chris Olave gets the Giants. That's a great matchup. In Week 17, he has the Tampa Bay Bucks. Another very good matchup. And as for Javonte Williams, in Week 13, he has the Houston Texans. You'd probably want to start him then. You'd probably want to start him in Week 14 versus the Chargers. So I would say Javonte probably has the better schedule heading into the playoffs. But actually, in the playoffs, I don't love Javonte's first week, the Detroit Lions. I mean, you know, sometimes we get caught up in Week 17, this guy is playing X team, right? And it's a great matchup. Well, what about the matchups before that? Could you be caught in a trap where you actually don't make it to the championship? In Week 15, first week of the playoffs for us at least, Javonte has the Detroit Lions, which is not exactly an ideal matchup for him. So both of these guys are going to be great. But MP, it's going to be like a week-by-week basis. If I had to choose one, just one rest of the season, full PPR, I'll still go Chris Olave there. But thank you for the donation, man. Appreciate you. Again, guys, do us a huge favor. Go ahead and hit that like button as you join the stream. Very simple way for you to help this channel grow. Super chats do skip the line. Not obligation, but it is an option. The next question in order is from Shane. Looks like Keaton Mitchell will be getting more touches, so I'm wanting to start him. Is he worth stashing at flex instead of Lockett or Addison? So if you have those two names, you're starting one of those two names over Keaton Mitchell at this point. We need to see Devon Achane type usage. At least 10 touches a game, right? And I know previously, in the week before he had that, but he didn't have that this last week. So we need to see at least 10 to 12 touches a game before this is someone that you can consistently be putting into your lineup over options like that. The Pigeon Man says, half point PPR. I need two running backs, Monty, White, Mostert, or Keaton Mitchell. Got to start Monty. He's a must start. In fact, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are both top six ranked running backs for me this week. Both are great options versus the Chicago Bears. They should be well in control of that game. And kind of what I said last week, you want to start both of these guys if you have them. I remember we had someone who dropped the super chat and said, what do I do? I have both of these running backs. We were like, start them. Start both of them. And that worked out well. So we'll go Monty there. And then I would probably go Rachaad White. Not an ideal matchup by any means, but he's getting a lot of work through the air. And in a half point, you're going to get a little bit of a benefit there. So yeah, it is close between Mostert though. Chris, what's up, man? Hey, y'all. Went 4 for 4 this week. Even won as an underdog in Dynasty. Love that. Thanks for the advice. Already starting Burrow with Tyreek and CD as wide receivers. The question is, it's a 10-man full PPR. Can only start 2 running backs and a flex. From Etienne. Yeah, you got to start him for sure. DeAndre Swift, Rachaad White, Ken Walker, James Cook, Puka Nacua, Brandon Ayuk, and Christian Kirk. I'm supposed to choose a couple of these names. Oh, God. All right, let's do our best. So, obviously, you're starting Travis Etienne. You already said that. But you've also got Swift as an option. I think Swift would probably be the other running back I'd put in there. Kansas City is not a good matchup, but let's be honest. It really matters about what the Eagles do in the red zone rather than their matchup. Their offensive line is so good. So we'll go ahead and put Swift in there. And now you're telling me I have to choose one name between Rachaad White, Ken Walker, James Conner, Puka Nacua, Brandon Ayuk, and Christian Kirk. The percentage chance I hit right here is so drastically low. But if it were me, I would be rolling Puka Nacua out there with confidence now that Matthew Stafford is back and healthy. So, best of luck there, though. Definitely appreciate you coming onto the stream. Eric, what is up, my man? He says, my roster. You'd love to see it. Just looking through it. Add Ty Chandler or Michael Wilson. Ty Chandler or Michael Wilson. You've got pretty good wide receiver room. I'd say your running back could use the boost there. It would be Ty Chandler for me. Yes, and I would be willing to drop McLaughlin at this point. You know, the Broncos kind of gave us the Ookie Dukes to begin the year. He's been pretty uninvolved, and Samaje's kind of taken over his secondary role again. Eric also says these names are available. No, I would still prefer Chandler there. Michael, what's up, man? This week, Kyler, Watson, or Howe, and which one do I drop? Kyler, Watson, or Howe? Very, very good question. Honestly, if I had to drop one, it would probably be Deshaun Watson. I don't really want to drop Deshaun Watson. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I don't want to drop him. But with all those options, if you're telling me you have to drop one, it would be Watson for me. The injury history, I mean, his touchdown last week was ridiculous. It should have been an interception. And Kyler Murray was inches away from another 2 touchdowns. But this week I'll go Sam Howell still. I said this last week. I mean, if you just blind tested people, Sam Howell versus other quarterbacks, I think he would have a lot more respect in fantasy. Michael says bench 1, Smith, Waddle, Ayuk, and Evans. Good Lord, you guys are giving me some difficult decisions here. Devonta Smith, we don't really want to bench him in this matchup, even though it's not a very good matchup versus the Chiefs. Ayuk gets Tampa Bay, which is a good matchup. Good Lord, man. How do you answer this question, honestly? I guess I would choose Jalen Waddle. It's insane that I'm telling you to bench a top 15 wide receiver in my rankings, but here we are. You guys are asking some tough questions today. Drop Madison for Chandler. You know, I don't think I would unless you need to start this week. I still think Madison comes back and gets at least 50% of that backfield. Drop downs for Noah Brown. Yeah, I'm still on the side of if Nico Collins is healthy, you can't start Noah Brown. If Nico, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz are all healthy, I don't think you can start Noah Brown. Whereas with Josh Downs, if he is healthy, he's someone that you could flex most weeks. He says, who would be a higher priority pickup between Ty Chandler and Jaylen Warren? Definitely Jaylen Warren, guys. 100%. If Jaylen Warren is somehow available, yeah, he should have been picked up weeks ago. I mean, probably 10 weeks ago, honestly. So, yeah, definitely Jaylen Warren. I mean, we just got the news this week that they're going to give him the starting nod, if you will. He'll be their starter. Now, you know, lower your expectations a little bit when you guys hear that, because I don't think that means that Najee Harris is irrelevant. I think it would probably look a little bit similar to what we have seen, maybe just a little bit more touches for Jaylen Warren. Morgan says, prioritize McBride or Mitchell on the waiver wire to your tight end is Kincaid. Javonte Williams, James Conner, Achane. Look, planning to grab Kyren Williams. Good God. What is going on with some of your leagues? How is Kyren Williams available? Look, this would be McBride for me. If McBride's available, I mean, we're looking at a potential league winner there. And if your league is, let's say, a 12-man, then there's definitely at least someone who doesn't have a tight end like McBride, and that gives you more trade equity. So, yeah, it would be McBride for me there, but it is close. Did just get another super chat, so Darren's going to skip the line there. Thank you for your donation, Darren. Very kind. Darren says, first place, if the top waiver wire running back gets taken and stuck with Sharby, Is there a sleeper you might recommend in his place? Upside on Sharby worries me. Yeah, Sharbs is much more of a stash and a handcuff. And to be honest, he is probably the best handcuff in fantasy right now. But he is more of a stash rather than a play. So if you're telling me you need someone to play this week, I'd rather play Devin Singletary this week. I'd rather play a guy that we've talked about a lot in Keaton Mitchell this week. I'd rather play Kareem Hunt. Gus Edwards probably not available. So those are some names that you could potentially look at. I'm trying to think of some other options for you. Probably Darrell Henderson. I'd rather play this week specifically. Ty Chandler this week, assuming that Alexander Mattison misses. So hopefully that is helpful for you, Darren. But still, outside of Keaton, you know, I would be hesitant to drop Sharbs. Thank you for your donation, man. Brian, thank you for your donation. Half PPR, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. You got some good options here, man. Brian, is Moore DJ Moore or is that Elijah Moore? Because that would make it even more difficult if it's DJ Moore. Yeah, let's see here. Rashee Rice, Adam Thielen, Tank Dell, McBride, and Moore. Good God. Good God almighty. Yeah, I do like DJ Moore this week if Justin Fields plays. Now, we don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But if Justin Fields plays, I could see DJ Moore going up my rankings quite drastically. Now, Tank Dell is an interesting case as well because if Nico Collins doesn't play, Tank Dell becomes a must-play in almost every format. Versus the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray, that has the second highest over-under of the week. We could see a lot of points from that matchup. So right now, if I had to choose an option, it would be Dell and Thielen. That's purely because of the amount of volume Thielen is going to see. I don't expect a huge game from him. However, if that is DJ Moore, I could see a scenario in which I would go Tank Dell and DJ Moore if Justin Fields is healthy. So hopefully that is helpful. I kind of explained how to play it both ways. And you can always come back to the stream later in the week when we have some more information and give you a better answer there. But I appreciate your donation, man. Dan says, should I trade Hollywood and Deontay for Olave and Sutton? Yeah, I think that's a fine trade. Hollywood and Olave, you prefer Olave, but I do love Hollywood. And as far as Deontay goes, I feel like him and Sutton are going to give you similar weeks. Obviously, Sutton has more touchdown upside. We've seen that. He scored a touchdown in 7 of 9 games. Something ridiculous like that. So, what is up, Donald? Welcome in. Justin Herbert or Kyler Murray? I'm playing for first place. So, Justin Herbert gets the Green Bay Packers. Kyler Murray gets the Houston Texans. It is close. It really is. Like, it's a tough question, man. Because if you didn't watch the Cardinals game, you would have been like, okay, Kyler Murray had a fine return. He looked good. But if you watched the game, you would realize how close Kyler Murray was to a top 3 week. The touchdown to Michael Wilson that got called back by inches, barely missing Hollywood. It was very close to an incredible return. But you can't sit Justin Herbert. That's just, you just can't sit that guy. Akshay, what's up, man? Start 1 running back, 1 flex. Pollard, Walker, Brian Robinson, Marquise Brown, Cortland Sutton. Okay. Very difficult question here between Pollard and Walker. Those are the 2 names I'm kind of stuck between. I am going to go Ken Walker as the running back. And then at flex, we have the option between Hollywood Brown and Cortland Sutton. 2 great options. We could also put Pollard in there technically. I'm going to go with Hollywood Brown there. I think they're going to continue to get him more and more involved. So I'm not ready to sit Hollywood Brown right now. He was so close to having a good week. Start Lamar or Stroud this week. Very good question. I'm going to go Lamar Jackson, though. You can't sit him. I know it's been up, it's been down, but you're going to miss out on those boom weeks if you end up sitting a guy like Lamar Jackson. FC Eagle says, y'all answered my question last night. Much love. But still can't decide between Goff or Kyler in my quarterback spot and between Pacheco and Schultz in my flex. Yeah, Pacheco is not someone that I'm overly excited about this week. If he's going to be successful, it's probably going to be through the air or he just gets into the end zone on a goal line touch. So I would probably lean Schultz there. And then as far as Goff or Kyler, you know, this is a very, very close one as well. I have Kyler Murray one spot ahead. I think Jared Goff has a very good matchup versus the Chicago Bears, but I'm just thinking about how that matchup goes. I said this yesterday, but I'm assuming that the Lions are going to dominate this game, and I just don't know how necessary Jared Goff is going to be for a Lions win. And with how good Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are playing right now, what are they going to do on the goal line? Are they really not going to give their running backs the ball on the goal line? So Kyler Murray tied for the highest over-under this week in that matchup. It would be Kyler for me. Start Tank Dell or Trey McBride. If Nico Collins is inactive, we'll go Tank Dell. Otherwise, we will probably rock with McBride. Donald says Rachaad White or Devon Achane if he plays. Yeah, it's a good question. It's a fair question. And my answer is Devon Achane. I'm putting him back into my lineups with confidence this week, guys. I got confidence in Devon for sure. Sam, what is up, my man? Start 12. It's super flex. Start 3 running backs. And who should I go with at quarterback 2, Purdy or Goff? I'll go Goff there. Purdy was very good last week. You guys know I love me some Brock Purdy. The haters have been piling on Brock, but they were silent. They were silent. They're only gonna come out of the shadows when he has a bad game. But yeah, I would go Goff still there. Just I think the better overall matchup, and both of these guys are probably gonna thrive off of efficiency rather than volume. And as far as your RB3, I'm assuming you're choosing between one of these guys. So it would be Keaton Mitchell for me. There's currently no reason to believe that we can start Miles Sanders, unfortunately. John, what is up, my man? 12-team PPR, need one flex. Deontay Johnson, Ridley Mostert, or James Conner? Very good question. This would be James Conner for me versus the Houston Texans. Just love that matchup. And I do think Ridley bounces back, but we need to see some more consistency before we gain any sort of trust with him. Mostert is also a fine option. Like I said earlier, though, I'm a little bit worried about Achane coming back. That doesn't mean that Mostert can't overcome it, but it does mean that Mostert will have less opportunities to have a breakaway play. You know, that's just the reality of the situation. Mr. Green is the next question here. And let me grab my chair here. Says, should I trade Kamara and Kelsey for A.J. Brown and Walker? I feel like we answered a question like this not too long ago. Might have been a different person. Should I trade Kamara and Kelsey for A.J. Brown and Walker? I have CMC, Achane, Kyron for running back. And Keenan Allen, Cup, Debo for wide receiver. And McBride for tight end. I would, as good as McBride has been, I told you guys to stash him multiple weeks ago. I feel good about that. Like, we feel good about McBride on this channel. But as good as he's been, I still think you want to rock with Kelsey as a superstar studded team that you've got at 8-2. I still think going into the playoffs, championship teams are going to want Travis Kelsey in their tight end spot. So I would rather pursue a trade where you're sending McBride away, and maybe you have to wait another week, but I would rather pursue a trade like that. I don't want Kelsey off my teams. You know, I've got a team where I've got Laporta and Kelsey. I'm trying to trade Laporta away. Even though he has an incredible schedule, I still just don't want Travis Kelsey on anyone else's team but mine. I do, and I'll say this again because I said it at the beginning of the stream, but we have some more people on the stream now. It is important to get some trades done before the playoffs, but you need to be very intentional with who you trade with. Think about this. If you're going to send Travis Kelce to one of your biggest competitors, there's a great chance Travis Kelce could be the reason you get knocked out of the playoffs. You got to think about that. Ideally, you're making trades with teams that are fighting to even get into the playoffs rather than with one of the best teams. You do not want to be making a team that you're competing with in the playoffs stronger. So just keep that in mind. I don't want to trade Kelce away. We did get a super chat from Chase Mann. Thank you for your donation, my brother. And we'll get to your question here straight away. Your question here. Start one, Henderson, Dowdle, Charbonnet, or Keaton Mitchell. Yeah, it's a good question, man. There will be no Kyron Williams. Matthew Stafford is back, so Darrell Henderson is back in play. I need to remind myself who they play, Seattle. So it's not like a superstar matchup by any means. Man, that's a tough question, honestly. I'm going to rule out Dowdle at this moment and Charbonnet. It's really between Henderson and Keaton Mitchell for me. I wouldn't say either of these guys have an incredible matchup, but I would say that Keaton Mitchell has the highest upside. So depending on what you need in your matchup, Chase, if you need some true upside, it would be Keaton Mitchell. But if you have a superstar squad already and you just need someone to kind of give you a solid floor, then I would put Henderson in there. If they're on the goal line, Henderson's likely going to be the running back that gets those opportunities. So that's how I would play it. Keaton if you need upside, Henderson if you need some safety. So best of luck, man. I appreciate your donation. Very kind of you. All right, guys, we're going back up to the top to answer the next question. And the next question is from Mr. Green. We answered that. Sorry. T. Zinch. Started 1-6. Started 1-6. But my team is Dak, JT, Brees, Amon-Ra, CD, Kincaid, Cup with Javonte and Ramondre Stevenson on the bench. Back to 4-6. Dropped 190 this week. I love it. We always tell people, do not give up. The only time you give up is when you're mathematically eliminated. Outside of that, there is genuinely no reason for you to give up. We see it every week. It's happened to me. You guys know this. I've won 10 in a row once after starting 1-7 and won my league. You never give up. Why give up? You already paid the buy-in. I know it's sad, but keep putting your best team out there. See what happens. Make some trades. Make some moves. You know, show some passion to the locker room. Hype them up. They need some leadership. Show them some leadership. If you're giving up, why shouldn't they? Okay? As if they care. Brandon Cooks or Noah Brown, rest of season. I'll probably go Brandon Cooks there. Just because, like I said earlier, I still think that when Nico Collins is healthy, Noah Brown is probably not a startable asset in those scenarios. Next question we have is from Victor. Need 2 running backs, Rachaad White, Raheem Mostert, Swift, Pacheco, Javonte Williams, or James Conner. Yes. Some of you guys are also wanting me to tell you the winning lottery numbers, which I can tell you in case anybody wants to know. I mean, look, this is a difficult question to answer. I mean, none of these guys are clear standouts for me. Swift would probably be my number one option. He probably has the worst matchup. Genuinely probably has the worst matchup of any of those names. But I just feel better about the offense that he's in and how important he could be in a high-scoring game. I'm going to rule out Pacheco. And then between Javonte Williams, James Conner, and Rachaad White, it's just a big three-way between who the hell do you start. I'm going to lean Javonte Williams there. But very difficult question to answer. Y'all are hitting me with some difficult ones today. The next question, we did just get a donation from Chris Cross, Applesauce. Thank you for the donation, man. Appreciate you. You are skipping the line with that donation. What's up? So, trading Evans and Henry for Jetta, Madison, Kyron, and Warren. What's your thoughts? 9-1. Have Hall with Chase, Allen, and Olave and Kelsey. Okay, so Mike Evans and Derrick Henry for Jefferson, Madison, Kyron, and Warren. I'm not a big fan of this deal. I'll be honest with you, Chris Cross. I know you were on the stream recently and we were talking about a trade where, you traded for Derrick Henry. I think that was you. I could be wrong. And we weren't in love with it, but I still like Justin Jefferson. I'm not 100% sure that there's a big difference in what you'll get rest of the year in scoring between Mike Evans and Justin Jefferson. So on the surface level, before this year, if we were drafting, clearly Justin Jefferson would be the most valuable player in this deal. But that's not the reality we currently live in. We live in a reality where Josh Dobbs has had no opportunities to build chemistry with Justin Jefferson. Jordan Addison is breaking out. TJ Hawkinson is getting targeted a bunch. So Justin Jefferson is going to return to a team, by the way, that has won, 5 in a row without him? I'm not saying Justin Jefferson won't be the most valuable receiver in Minnesota. What I'm saying is he has more competition than Mike Evans does. Mike Evans is the dude in Tampa Bay. And then as far as Kyren and Warren goes, I think that's a relatively even deal between them and Derrick Henry. But at that point, I do believe you kind of just lean with Derrick Henry because of the matchups that he has upcoming. So, and just a general rule, guys, at this point of the season, I do not want to be involved in any deals where I'm getting more players than I'm sending away. Just a general rule. It probably means you're not getting the best value. In general, you want to be getting the 1 in a 1-for-2 deal. The 2 in a 2-for-3 deal. You want to be getting the best players. And I know it sounds crazy, but I just don't think Justin Jefferson is the upgrade that we maybe want him to be over Evans rest of the year. I'll hold my hands up and I'll say I'm wrong if I am. I'm not saying Josh Dobbs isn't going to be good for him. I'm saying there's a lot of competition, and I don't see that competition for a guy like Mike Evans. So, yeah, this isn't a deal I would personally pursue myself. I would rather, if you're willing to part with Evans and Henry, go get Tyreek Hill. Go try and get Christian McCaffrey or Austin Eckler. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of deals you should be pursuing, in my opinion. What's up, Brian? He says, trade Dell for Hollywood. Yeah, that's a good question. I would still prefer Hollywood over Dell rest of season. And there's some context that I don't know that would help me answer that question. For example, how long is Nico Collins out? How serious is the injury? He's been dealing with it for multiple weeks. I think he'll be back soon. So that's kind of leaking into my answer there. And also, I think we underestimated Atlanta's secondary, specifically against a guy like a Hollywood Brown. But yeah, I still think Hollywood is going to be the squeaky wheel that gets the grease here soon with Kyler Murray. I mean, we saw how damn good he was for that offense with Kyler. We have a 6-game sample size rather than just the first game that we saw. And again, if Hollywood catches that touchdown pass, it wasn't his fault, by the way. Kyler's knocking off some rust. Then no one's even considered trading away Hollywood. So I'll go Hollywood there. It is close, though. Josh, thank you for your donation, man. Very, very kind. A big $10 dono. Dang. Thank you for that donation, man. He says, just got offered to trade my DK Metcalf for Jerome Ford. Have Saquon and JT. Wide receivers on the top of DK are Thielen, Dell, Godwin, and Sutton. Hawk for tight end, Burrow for quarterback, and you're 3 and 7. Yeah, man. It's been tough for DK. It has been tough for DK. This was a name that I was avoiding personally before the year. I'll give a quick little plug. A quick little plug over to the Flock Fantasy website. If you guys want to sign up, you can use our promo code LAND to get 30% off. If you sign up to that top tier, which we call the Mother Flocker tier, you're going to unlock a lot of perks, including a personalized DM to us to ask us advice over on Discord in the DM. But one of the articles that I wrote over there on the Flock Fantasy website, this was back in May, was essentially suggesting that we fade DK Metcalf this year. And just want to show you guys quickly some of the benefits of being with us over on the Flock Fantasy site. Not only do you get articles from me, but you get articles from our entire team. We have what I would put our team against anyone in the industry, genuinely. I think we have the best team. But, we just talked about DK Metcalf's ADP. I talked about his points per game per year. And I talked about the fact that they're adding a first-round wide receiver and the target share that we expect from a first-round wide receiver historically. And unfortunately, it looks like that has kind of been the case for DK. It's been a crowded room, and he's been getting targets. And really, it's not even been so much targets. It's been just the lack of kind of being on the same page between him and Geno Smith. But anyway, to answer your question, DK Metcalf or Jerome Ford? That is a very, very good question, man. Jerome Ford, clearly the guy getting a ton of opportunities. I'm going to go Jerome Ford here, man. Here's the thing. You got Pittsburgh this week. Great matchup for a running back. You got Denver next week. You can run on Denver. They're more difficult to throw against. But in the playoffs, if you end up making it, you've got Chicago week 1. You've got Houston week 2. That's a really good 1-2 to kind of play against. So I will go Jerome Ford. It sucks trading away a guy that you probably drafted in the 3rd round to a waiver wire pickup. But I think he's going to give you more consistency rest of the year, in my personal opinion. But honestly, I'll just say quickly, because you donated $10. That's a lot. Thank you. I would not be opposed to trading Saquon away after this deal. If Saquon can bring you back a stud wide receiver, I would explore that, my guy. If Saquon can get you a Devonta Smith rest of the year, a Puka Nacua, a Cooper Kupp, off of bad games because they didn't have Stafford, a Stephon Diggs off of bad game, go pursue a deal like that. Again, the most likely scenario is that they don't, but that doesn't happen. But go try and do that. I know Badaki and I see this differently, but I do not want Saquon on my fantasy teams at this moment. That offense is just like, how many touchdowns does Saquon score rest of the year? Genuinely, chat, tell me. Put a number in the chat. How many touchdowns does Saquon score rest of the year? Last week I said maybe 2. At this point, I think maybe 1. So anyway, and Josh, last thing I'll say is you got to be on top of the waiver wire at 3 and 7. There has been value on the waiver wire every week this year. Some of it has been permanent value. Some of it has been a spot start. But be on top of that waiver wire. Thank you for your donation. Sam with the donation here. Thank you for the donation, man. Traded Pollard for Pacheco. Thoughts? I'm pretty... I'll be honest, Sam. I don't have a strong opinion on this one either way. Let's see what the community says. Let's see what the community says. If you guys don't know, over on the Flock Fantasy website, we do community rankings. So I want to see what the community says about this. Let's see, community. And let's see where they have Tony Pollard versus... Let's see. Tony Pollard, they have at 46. Isaiah Pacheco, they have at 54. So that's the community's opinion. They would rather have Tony Pollard. But honestly, if you look at strictly just the running back position in the community's eyes, those guys are probably back-to-back. Yeah, Tony Pollard at 17 and Isaiah Pacheco at 19. So I think it's kind of a lateral move. I don't really feel like there's a huge difference between these two names. And probably what you wanted to hear is me to say, like, yeah, you absolutely smashed the trade. But I don't want to blow steam up anyone's butt for nothing. Like, I want to be honest with you guys. Transparency is more important than making you feel good. So I just feel like it's a lateral move. It doesn't mean that you made the wrong trade. It's just a lateral move, in my opinion. Sammy says, Ayuk or Waddle. I'll go Ayuk this week. Ayuk, very efficient last week. Didn't have a lot of volume, but Did they really need to throw the ball? Was there a single, minute of that game where they thought, we might not win this game? Let's go ahead and throw the ball. No, there wasn't. What's up, JR? Pick best running back to pick up off waivers. Okay, so here are your available running backs. Yeah, this would probably... Okay, so I guess if you're asking me who to start this week, that would probably be Ty Chandler. And again, that's assuming, guys, that Alexander Mattison won't play. If Alexander Mattison plays, there's a scenario where everyone picked up Ty Chandler, and he no longer becomes a fun start at all. But he was in concussion protocol on Monday, so there's a good chance he doesn't play this week. So if you're asking me this week, Ty Chandler, which, by the way, we talked about on our stash video last week. If you guys have been watching that series, a lot of you guys have been kind of ahead of the waiver wire, which has been awesome to see. But outside of Ty Chandler, Kareem Hunt would be my second option there. But shout out to everybody watching the stream. Appreciate y'all. I am solo dolo today. Big shout out to Badaki. They're doing some baby tings. His wife is pregnant, so he's taking care of her, being a good husband. Do me a huge favor. Go ahead and smash that like button. Simple way for you to support this channel, help us grow. I'm going to be answering as many questions as I can today. Bear with me, as I might take a couple seconds to catch my breath here and there. I'm not used to doing it solo dolo. But go ahead and do me a favor. Hit that like button. I'm answering questions from top to bottom. Super chats do get priority. And the next question is from Sammy Clark. Aaron Jones or Gibbs? We are going to go Jahmyr Gibbs there for sure. Jahmyr Gibbs. What's up, Zonal? Adrian says, what do you think of Jaylen Warren going forward? Yeah, I talked about it a little bit earlier in the stream. I know they've technically named him the starter. I don't personally believe that that's going to change a lot. I think you might see a couple more touches for him per game. But I don't see a scenario in which Najee Harris is not involved either. I don't see Warren becoming like a 70% owner of that backfield, if that makes sense. So yeah. Let me know what you guys think, though, in the chat. Next question is from RHJ. Start 2. James Cook, Jerome Ford, or Henderson. Yeah, this would be the first two. There. Josh says, would you make any changes to the roster? 20-team league. You got a pretty good team, man, for a 20-team league. Okay, 5-5, 6-4. I mean, look, there's a ton of football left for you to play still here. Nothing is out of range. But honestly, dude, I'm kind of confused how you're 5-5 with that team. Probably because Jonathan Taylor hasn't been available much. Neither has Aaron Jones. But outside of that team is stacked. I think you rock with what you got. Yeah, you've been unlucky. Rock with what you got, man. D. Bill says, rate my trade, please. I traded away Gus for Rashawn. Swap of 2024 first rounds. I'm in first place. He's in sixth. And a 25 second rounder. So this is clearly a dynasty question. So you trade away Gus for Rashawn and you swapped firsts. So you're getting a better first round pick. I like it. You get the better player long term instead of the the immediate return, and hopefully you get a better first round pick from what it sounds. Jacob says, I have Tua and Kyler. Got offered Jerome Ford for Kyler. I could use the help at running back. Yeah, I would be comfortable to do that. I love Kyler Murray. I'm comfortable with him being my starter rest of the year. But if you need help at running back, I think that's a pretty good deal. And Jerome has a pretty good schedule rest of the season. We did just get a donation from Scar Shiesty. Thank you for the donation, my man. He says, hope all is well. He's showing me his team there. You'd love to see it. Just looking through it. Trade Warren and DJ Moore / Tank for Kyler and Pickens. I can see why you want to do this move because of Trevor Lawrence. But I think you're paying too much in a one quarterback league. Assuming this is a one quarterback league, I just think you're paying too much here, man. I get it. I want Kyler over Trevor rest of the year too. But you're giving up a starting running back now for what is probably a top 15 wide receiver when Justin Fields is back. So, and Pickens, I love Pickens, the talent. I just like, what does it take for you to start Pickens with confidence on a weekly basis? And does that happen this year? I don't think that it does. There'll be boom games, but I don't know that you can start him with any confidence. Keep in mind, Pat Freiermuth is coming back too. So, yeah, I think you're being taken for a ride a little bit with that deal. I think that's the kind of deal I'd send to someone and be like, I hope they accept this because I'm clearly getting the better side. Hopefully that's helpful. David, Raiders Nation for life. Pollard is so annoying. Would you start Sutton, Najee, or Hunt over him? I'd start Sutton for sure, but not the other two. This will be the week, guys. This will be the week. Everyone's lost confidence in him. He plays the Carolina Panthers. There's not a better matchup. Watch this be the week where we're all like, okay, let's move on from Tony. Watch. Start 12 half PPR. Who should I go with at flex? Let's see. Number 3. So I'm assuming you are choosing one of these names. Yeah, this would be Michael Wilson for me. I know that sounds crazy. Brandon Cooks coming off a 30-point game. But if we look at Brandon Cooks in his last 6 games, barely any of those games he had over 4 targets. So I'd still go Michael Wilson there for me. Jeff, what's up? My name's Jeff. Rachaad White or Saquon this week. Also, should I drop Zay Flowers for Noah Brown? I wouldn't drop Zay for Noah Brown. I just think Noah Brown is still a spot start with injuries. And as far as Rachaad White or Saquon, it's a very good question. It is a very good question. I have Rachaad White ahead in my rankings. I really don't like that being publicly said, but it's true. I have Rachaad White ahead of my rankings. Best of luck. Zonal Throne says, which side PPR for the playoffs? Kyron and Achane for Pollard and Montgomery. Oof. You hit me with the left-right goodnight here because Monty is someone that I want to start every week. Sheesh, man. Jeez. We're going to go... God help me. Yeah, we're going to go Pollard and Montgomery here. But honestly, it is very, very close. Trey McBride or Laporta going forward. I'll still go Laporta, but I mean, roster both of these guys and try and use them as trade bait. Flex Ridley or Connor. I'm going Connor. Caden says Rachaad White and Deontay for Hollywood and Swift. I'll take the Hollywood and Swift side. Yeah, Rachaad White is performing well. That's a guy that I was very high on in our Dynasty channel this offseason. But I still prefer Swift. He's on the better offense, and I think Hollywood bounces back. Trade Ken Walker away for Pacheco. No, I think you're going too deep into the bag there with that move. Kyler Murray or Sam Howell. I'll go Sam Howell this week. It's very close. Also, Puka or Noah Brown. We'll definitely go Puka. Puka, guys, just so you know how I view Puka this week, a must start. I would say it's hard to find a league where he's not a must start for me. In case that helps anyone. Achane is a missing piece, but I do believe Mostert will do better with Achane back. Plus, Achane's coming off an injury. So I don't think it will affect Mostert, if at all. Okay, I mean, we definitely disagree there, but that's okay. We'll find out for sure. FC Eagle says, make sure y'all subscribed and like this ish. Appreciate you, man. Very kind. Patrick says, is Christian Watson droppable in a 10-man PPR? Yeah. If those names are available, I would, I would keep Christian Watson over Noah Brown and Douglas. But I would pick up Josh Downs over Christian Watson at this point, unfortunately. Patrick says, sell or hold Monty in PPR. I'm holding him. Unless you can get a great option in return, I'm holding him. David says, this week, Burrow or Howell? Yeah. It's a very good question. It is a very, very good question, my man. Sam Howell, finally getting the respect. I'm glad this is a question because this indicates some respect on Sam Howell's name, which, I like to see. I like to see. Okay, so I'll probably go Joe Burrow here. I'll probably still go Joe Burrow. Divisional game. I don't think there's a scenario in which this is a dominated game by either team, so I think they'll both be necessary. Keep in mind, Joe Burrow already played the Ravens in week 2, and in that game, he was still injured and he put up 20 points. So I'm gonna go Joe Burrow there, but it is close. It is very, very close. Did just get a super chat from Clutch Box, so we'll get to that straight away. You are skipping the line there. He says, would you trade Bijan for Goff and Superflex? Would you trade Bijan for Goff in Superflex? Yes, I would. Sorry, it's kind of setting in for me that you're going to lose Bijan. I love Bijan, man. Y'all know he was one of my confident starts last week. And he does have a good matchup upcoming, but think about it from this perspective, Clutch Box. If you were to redo your Superflex draft, who goes first? Bijan or Goff? I think that there's a good case that Jared Goff goes first. I think he's probably a second-round pick in a Superflex draft. So, it's pretty even, man. It's pretty even. But I would only do that if Goff is a huge upgrade for you at Superflex. You know, if you're rocking with like a Deshaun Watson, it's just not working out yet, I wouldn't make that deal. The only way I'm doing this and getting Goff is if it's a huge upgrade over who I currently have. Rome, thank you for the donation, man. PPR Kincaid for James Conner. Already have Andrews as tight end. I would say that's pretty even. Yeah, I would say that's a pretty even deal across the board. Probably can't get Javonte Williams anymore. That would have been a better option. I would rather have Devon Achane. But I think that's a pretty even deal. I think that's a fair win-win for both sides, I would say. So yeah, I'm happy with it. Thank you for the donation, man. Appreciate both of you. Excuse me. As you guys know, I'm going from top to bottom today. Super chats do get to skip the line, so that's an option, but no obligation to, of course. Ram Bin says, which two should I start from? Saquon, Kenneth, and Mostert. Father, forgive me for I have sinned. I think I'm sitting Saquon. What about this Tommy DeVito-led Giants has shown any of us that Saquon's going to get any points this year? I wonder what you could bet with a bookie on will Saquon Barkley have a touchdown rest of the year? I wonder what the odds are on that. Tough situation. Kirk or Hollywood this week? Very good question. Christian Kirk gets the Tennessee Titans. That is a fantastic matchup. I'm going to rock with Christian Kirk. Although I do like Hollywood this week for sure. Adrian says, I was offered Dobbs for Justin Fields and Marquise Brown. Currently starting Justin Herbert and haven't played Brown in 3 weeks. So I feel like if this was a super flex league, you would have told me that. And I'm assuming this is a 1 quarterback league. You're getting Dobbs and you're sending away Justin Fields and Hollywood Brown. I would genuinely laugh at that offer. If someone sent me that offer, I would just send them a meme back and just be like a blank face or something. No. And it's not because Josh Dobbs isn't good. It's in a 1 quarterback league. That's a joke of an offer. I wouldn't send Marquise Brown for Dobbs straight up. And again, it's not that Josh Dobbs isn't good. He's probably a top 12 quarterback rest of the way. You already have Justin Fields. When Justin Fields is back from injury, which is probably this week, you'll get similar output between both of those guys. I mean, honestly, that's just, I'm getting angry for you because someone's trying to take advantage of you. That's just a dumb offer. That's just a rude offer. Someone's trying to take advantage, honestly. No worries, MP. Joshua says pick 2 to start. Mixon versus the Ravens. James Cook versus the Jets. Singletary versus the Cardinals. And Chandler versus the Broncos. You start... here's how I would play it personally. Mixon is going into my lineup. But as far as the other guys, if Dameon Pierce doesn't play, I'll put Singletary in over James Cook. But if Dameon Pierce does play, I'll go James Cook over Singletary. Hopefully that is helpful for you, my man. We did just get a couple super chats, so let's get to that straight away. Clutchbox, thank you for the donation. Says, my quarterbacks are Herbert, Carr, and Kenny Pickett. Herbert, Carr, and Kenny Pickett. Clutchbox, who are your running backs then? If you lose Bijan Robinson, who are your running backs? That's an important question that I have for you. In the playoffs, though, Derek Carr has the Giants, the Rams, and the Bucks. Kenny Pickett, man. I mean, that's a rough reality for you there. Just sitting watching Kenny Pickett play football. That's not fun for anyone. I want to know who your running backs are if you lose Bijan. You don't have to super chat Clutchbox. Just let me know. I'll get back to that right after this next super chat. TM, what's up, my man? Thank you for your donation. 2 flexes: Deontay versus Cleveland, Mixon versus Baltimore, Chandler versus Denver. Start the first 2 guys. Chandler's a fine option if Madison is out, but we're gonna go with the 2 proven vets, the guys who have done it more than Ty Chandler has done it before. So yeah, Chandler's definitely someone worth picking up, definitely someone worth stashing. But if you have options like Deontay and Mixon, you got to start those guys over a Ty Chandler this week. But Clutchbox, let me know, man, who are the running backs you'd have after Bijan? Because you'd have Eckler, Cook, James Cook, Achane, and Gibbs. You know what? That's a fine running back room still. This sounds like a smaller league. Let me know if I'm wrong. This sounds like a smaller league. Which, in that case, I do think getting a more solidified quarterback, too, would benefit you. Yeah, I think that's a fair deal. Because you still have Eckler, Achane, and Gibbs you could put in that RB2 spot at any moment. Oh, it's a 12-man keeper league. See, Clutchbox, this is very important context. A keeper league. How many keepers do you have? You know what I mean? How many keepers do you get each year? And is there a timer on those keepers? See, that's very important context that I didn't have there. Which would totally change the answer depending on how you answer that next question. I'm going to be looking out for your question. I'm going to go back up to the top. Three keepers? Okay. 3 keepers. If you think about it, would you really want to be keeping 3 years max keeping? Yeah, honestly, would you really want to be keeping Derek Carr and Kenny Pickett? Like, how much confidence would you really have in those guys next year? I'd say pull the trigger. I'd pull the trigger. I'd go and get Jared Goff. Best of luck. And thank you for your donation. Marat says pick 1 half PPR. Noah Brown, Ty Chandler, Deonta Foreman, Calvin Ridley. This is Noah Brown if Nico Collins doesn't play. If Nico Collins plays, this is Ty Chandler if Alexander Madison doesn't play. And if Alexander Madison doesn't play, if Nico and Madison play, we're going Calvin Ridley. Mark and Soul says number 1 quarterback is CJ Stroud, or still roll with Bummy Lamar. Yeah. Look, Stroud's going to get you more consistency. I just think Lamar's going to have more of those boom games for you rest of the year. So it depends on your lineup each week in the matchup that they have. But I would still go Lamar. What's up, SOC? I have a low priority in all my leagues. Any suggestions on who to target? I'm hoping to drop Moss and Shakir for Hubbard and Deonta Foreman. Yeah, Deonta Foreman. Look, that's someone that I told you guys to start confidently last week. But that was because of the matchup, and that was because Khalil Herbert wasn't playing. Deonta Foreman is not someone that I would say, like, I'm confidently adding with hopes that he's a league winner. But Hubbard's a fine option. You know, Hubbard's a fine option to add. I will have a stash video, SOC, so maybe what you could do is you could save your priority, and if there's no one that you love, you don't have to pick anyone up, but I would say Hubbard's a fine option to pick up. But if there's no one that you love at all, you could wait until waivers clear, see who people drop. I'll be releasing a stash video tomorrow morning for you guys. You can see all the players I'm suggesting you stash and make a decision from there when you have the first option, but up to you there. Patrick, 10-man, 5-5. Show me the roster. Looks like a good roster. Any moves to upgrade wide receiver 2? Patrick, we say this pretty much every stream, but we don't do any like team reviews. They just take too long, and in order for us to give you a good team review, it does take time. We try and answer more like those quick questions, but that's kind of a service we offer over on the Fantasy Hotline. What I would say is, in a 1-quarterback league, you don't need 2 quarterbacks. Maybe try and use one of those guys to upgrade your wide receiver room. For example, package Burrow and Ridley, or package Burrow and DK and go get an elite guy. That's what I would say is my biggest suggestion. John says, who y'all rolling with this week? Singletary, Henderson, or Chandler? If there is no Damian, definitely Devin Singletary. And if there is a Damian Pierce playing and no Alexander Madison, we'll go Chandler. Okay, love that. Austin Hicks says, someone offered me Barkley for Swift. 1 point per 10 yards, 6 points per touchdown. I'd rather have Swift rest of the year. Drop Zay Flowers for Rashee Rice. I think these guys are going to give you similar outcome rest of the year. I don't have a strong preference, but I think I would still hold on to Zay Flowers at this point. Of course, Jalen is a starter now. Dropped him a few weeks ago. That's okay. It happens. Is Scam Akers on IR? Yes, he should be. But honestly, I felt this way before this year. But Cam Akers has genuinely no value in fantasy football anymore. Like, you're not dropping him in Dynasty if you can just hold him for free. But I wouldn't even send a 4th-round pick in Dynasty for him, honestly. Both Achilles torn. I don't think he plays another NFL snap. I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong. But I don't think he plays any meaningful moments, unfortunately. Richard says, Auten, Musgrave, Meyer, or Higbee. I lost Goddard. It would be Mayer for me, Michael Mayer for me, if you had to choose one of those names. Guys, we'll be live. We'll be live for the next 10 minutes, okay? I'm going to be live all the way up until the 20-minute mark. Normally, we do go live for about 2 hours, but that's when I have my co-host who's helping me in between these questions. I don't want to lose my voice. It is hard to talk for like an hour and a half straight after you've recorded 3 videos already, so keep that in mind. I'm doing the most I can here, but I'll be live for about the next 10 minutes. Just keep that in mind. Ronald says, would you start Stroud or Kyler over Allen this week? No, I'll still go Josh Allen. What's up, Ishmael? Dropping Watson for Johnston, Rondell Moore, or Guyton. I'd drop Watson for Johnston, but not the other guys. Rob, what's up, man? Trade A.J. Brown and give up Kyler and Aaron Jones. If this is a 1-quarterback league and you already have a good quarterback, yeah, I would definitely do that. No worries, Donald. Josh says, just got offered to trade my DK Metcalf for Jerome Ford. I think I answered this one in a super chat. I could be wrong. But yeah, I'll take Jerome Ford. Trade Amari Cooper for Adams. You ask a very difficult question here. A very difficult question. Yeah. I'll take Devontae Adams. What is your opinion on football? I don't know what you mean by that. I love it. KJ Frederick says, should I drop Chuba for Tajay or Rico? It depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a stash, I think Tajay is the best stash here. But if you're looking for a play this week, then no. Debo or McBride at flex? That's a good question. We've got Debo Samuel going up against the Tampa Bay Bucks. I'll lean Debo there, but it is close. It is very close. Adrian, what's up, my man? Okay, saying Justin Jefferson and Achane play pick 2. Wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. Okay, so if they play. You obviously played Tyreek. You definitely played Kamara. Who's Devontae? Is that Devontae Smith? I'm assuming that's Devontae Smith. Okay, so essentially we're choosing 5 players here. So we're going Tyreek. We're going Justin Jefferson. We're going Alvin Kamara, Achane, and then we would go Devonta Smith, assuming that's Devonta Smith. Did just get a super chat from Darren. Thank you for the donation, man. Flex Ferguson or Rice? I have trust issues with Mahomes. I get it, man. I get it. Yeah, and Ferguson's been pretty damn good. He has. We have to give him credit. I think at this point, 3 touchdowns in a row, I think you got to start Jake Ferguson at this point. Devontae Adams, I would choose Devontae Adams there instead of Devonta Smith. Same order that I said. Just put his name in there instead. Next question is from Bryce. Dropping Dallas, Goddard, adding Tank Dell. Dallas has a fractured forearm. Do I start CJ over Jalen because Jalen is questionable due to a knee? No, if Jalen Hurts plays, you start Jalen Hurts. MM says traded Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs for Pacheco and Justin Jefferson. I don't love it personally. I'll be honest with you, MM. The Adams and Jefferson side is, I don't really see a huge difference there, but the Jacobs and Pacheco, I think Pacheco is a pretty significant downgrade considering what Josh Jacobs means to his offense compared to what Pacheco means to his. Josh Jacobs is the offense in Las Vegas. I mean, 29 touches last week. The week before, 26 carries. Under this new coaching staff, he is getting worked to the bone. That's what you want in fantasy. So I prefer the Adams and Jacobs side myself. And she says, should I trade Adam Thielen for Nico? I'd rather have Adam. Sam says, traded Pollard for Pacheco. Oh, we talked about this in a super chat. Should I sell DK Metcalf? You can. It just depends on what could you get in return. Find out from your league. Put them on the trade block. Ryan says, should I trade Brian Robinson for Gus Edwards? No, I'd rather have Brian. What is your favorite team and why? I've got 2 favorite teams. For some reason, some people take issue with that. I don't really care. That's okay if they do. But my 2 teams are the Washington Commanders, which I don't really like the name, but here we are. Been supporting them since I was born, kind of born into it. And the Kansas City Chiefs. Reason for that being I moved to Kansas City when I was 11 from the East Coast and lived right by that stadium. So those are my 2 teams, Chiefs and Commanders. And yeah, just loved them growing up. Woolly Mammoth says, start 2, Gus, Mixon, or Singletary. This would be Mixon and Gus, unless Dameon Pierce doesn't play. We'll go Mixon and Singletary. So hopefully that is helpful. I did get a super chat from Jay. Jay has a question. He says, I have Kincaid, McBride, Adams, Noah Brown, JSN, Gibbs, Pollard, flex a tight end, and grab Cooks. I'm trying to understand this question. Flex a tight end and grab Cooks, Gibson, Moore, Michael Wilson off waivers, or trade Kincaid either for one. What is happening here, Jay? Okay, so you have Kincaid, McBride. I would flex one of those guys. At this point, Kincaid is a better start than Cooks, Gibson, Elijah, Michael Wilson. So if the question is, do you flex one of those tight ends or force a trade? I think you flex one of those tight ends. So, yeah, I mean, that is a lot of words. I'm not sure I understand the question fully, but if that's the question, I would flex one of those tight ends. But let me know if you have like a specific trade question out there that you've got an offer for. But yeah, don't feel uncomfortable flexing tight ends, guys. Tight ends have become deep this year. It's weird. It's not something we're ever used to, but I'm in a league where I have Kelsey and Laporta, and I'm flexing Laporta, you know, and it's been successful. Eric says, thanks for the help. Michael Wilson over Guyton or McKinnon. Yeah, Michael Wilson over both for me. So, yeah. Lamar or Stroud will go Lamar. What's up, Andreas? Need a wide receiver 2 and a flex. Mostert, Waddle, Kincaid, Rice, and Warren. Yeah, we will go Waddle. And then we will flex. It's between Mostert and Kincaid. We'll flex Kincaid. Favorite player and why? All time, I'd probably say Sean Taylor. Because he's probably the most fun player I've ever watched in a Washington uniform. Rest in peace. On track for one hell of a career. I would probably say Sean Taylor. If you're asking me my favorite year I've watched football for Washington, it's probably RG3's rookie year. But that fell apart pretty quickly. And as far as the Chiefs, it's probably Jamal Charles. Of course, you could say Mahomes and Kelsey, right? But it's Nesco Gaming says, running backs Raheem, Barkley, Ford, and Keaton Mitchell. Who to start week 11? Well, I don't really know how many you can start. I think that's the more important question here is how many can you actually start? If you can start 2, which I assume would be the case, you got Raheem Mostert versus the Raiders. You got Saquon versus the Commanders. Jerome Ford has a great matchup, though. This would be Jerome Ford and Saquon Barkley for me. Assuming you can start 2, but of course I don't really know that at this time. Okay, Darren says, easier to win if you aren't dead last in waiver wire in order to... Yes, that makes sense. Manuel says, would you trade Kamara for Cup? Need wins and have Hall? Yes, I would. Yes, I would. They're pretty dead even, but if you need a win right now, we know that Alvin Kamara obviously on bye, and Cooper Kupp I still view as a top 12 wide receiver with Matthew Stafford back. Also, if I can get Pacheco for Barkley, should I trade Barkley away? No, I still prefer Barkley there. Driz says, pick 3 running backs to start. Swift, Barkley, Achane, Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams. Yeah, I mean, this is very much like throwing darts at a board. I'll be honest with you. But if I have to choose 3, for me, this would be Swift, Achane, and then all those other guys are in a very similar tier for me. I'll go Aaron Jones last, but that is very close there. Very, very close. But, guys, that is the 20-minute mark. I tried to answer as many questions as I can. Derek will be my last question here. I have Kittle at tight end. Are you okay with flexing Kincaid over Pacheco? Yes, I am. I'm okay with that. That's it for today, guys. I tried to do my absolute best. I'll be honest, it is very difficult to talk. I just want you guys to understand. I've been recording videos for 2 hours before this stream, talking straight through them. And now I've been talking for about an hour and 20 minutes straight, just so you can maybe empathize with where I'm coming from. My throat is almost gone here. It's getting tough. It's hurting. So that's going to be it for today. We will be live tomorrow. Come join us live tomorrow. Just come to the stream maybe a little bit earlier to get some more questions in. We'll be live tomorrow. Join us then. Go check out the videos we have live on the channel. Running backs, wide receivers. We go through every matchup. That's live. We released that this morning. We appreciate y'all. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow. All love.